Hello and welcome to this tutorial where we're going to look at making a very simple button. I'm going to warn you, it's not the fashionable thing to make buttons the way I make them, but it is going to show you a couple of very cool features about Inkscape that I think you're going to use later. So today we're going to be using a rectangle tool and we're going to be using the gradient tool for what I think is a great effect. So let's just go ahead and make a rectangle. Kind of chosen a really nice blue here. Let's just zoom in slightly because we're going to need to see what we're doing here. That's cool. And what we need to do now is copy this rectangle. So I've just made a copy of it and I'm going to put it just here. Now we're going to need our color palette open, so double click down there. For our first rectangle we are going to need a stroke. Let's make that black, and let's make it about 2. That's cool. And the second rectangle, what we want to do is now make a gradient for it. So I'm going to go down to the gradient tool, click on it, and what happens is I can go to any shape and kind of drag a gradient out into that shape, which is really cool. In this case, I want a gradient that goes from top to bottom. I'm going to press Control. And what that does is it kind of helps me keep my gradient in a straight line. And you can see I've kind of created this blue to white gradient. I actually don't want that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to edit my gradient. Now there's 2 ways of editing a gradient. You can click on the gradient button and it will pop up in your toolbar. If you can't remember how to do that, always go back to your color palette, to the fill, and what you will see there, if we click on the black arrow, you will see the gradient just pops itself into that color palette there. Let's edit it from here. So I'm going to click on the edit button and you can see my gradient has actually 2 colors in it. They're both blue. One of the colors, which is blue, is fully transparent. You can see that here because the A equals 0 and alpha 0 means that you have absolutely no color. It's transparent. For this one, I am going to convert this color into white by simply moving the sliders all the way to the end. Let me go to the other color, which is a blue and fully opaque, and again I'm gonna move the sliders all until it's white. Now you can't see the effect right now, but I promise you once we've finished with it you'll see what I'm kind of getting at. So what I've got here is basically I've reduced the shape into a much thinner shape, and I'm going to move that white rectangle over the blue rectangle, just resize it so it sits inside the black line, and if I zoom out you can see that's a very quick and easy gradiented button which kind of looks 3D. It's not perfect, but it should do the job quite nicely. Now if you are making a website, it's quite common to see a row of buttons that kind of look like this. Let me just do that really quickly without really thinking. But if you were to go to a website, it's quite common actually to see a menu that's made of these buttons. And later on you would put your mouse over and maybe a menu would drop out of it. But that is a very quick way of using gradients and very simple shapes to create beautiful effects.